to the Latvian Football Podcast. Today we are going to review season 2024. It's been an exciting one, but it's all over, so we're gonna talk about what happened.
Yeah, a bit sad it's all over, but it's been a brilliant season. Lots happening. I think it's been a big season of two halves.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a complete change in team performances and behaviour, and I'm sure we're going to discuss it all now.
A season of two halves is, I think, a great way to put it, because that's how it feels like. The season starts in March, and then I think up until like early June it feels like this one thing, and then the European qualifiers come and it feels like something else is happening, and then this last autumn and late summer bit, it really tests your endurance for Latvian football. And on the one hand, it feels like it's been too quick. On the other hand, there were times, I admit, when it felt that, oh my God, it's still going.
Yeah, I certainly feel sad it's all over, but there was different periods, season fatigue kicked in on different occasions. It's been a long season, an enduring season, but it's also been a season where there has been so much drama. I mean, if you look at what happened with Auda, coach changes, Valmiera with the club financial dramas there, then you've got the bottom of the table, Leipzig, Grobina suddenly being a bit bipolar in how they've behaved or how they performed as a team, and then the mid-table action as well.
Yeah, I think the only consistent team that has been, consistent couple of teams throughout the season were RFS and Riga, who occupy places 1 and 2 in the Virsliga table. RFS ahead by 3 points. Riga managed to close the gap a little bit in the final game of the season, which was the final fourth big Riga derby, when they managed to win 2-1 by scoring a late penalty. Auda finished third again, second year in a row. They didn't have a good start to the season, but managed to recover once the new coach took over.
But I don't think RFS started the league so well either. They had a bit of a slow start against Valmiera. They actually lost 4 games compared to the one they lost last season in 2023.
Yeah, but 2 of those were kind of now. Yeah. When they're playing in the Europa League.
Okay, they lost their last game of the season, and they lost their first game of the season as well.
No, second.
Second game.
First game was versus Auda when they won 2-1.
Okay, good memory. So yeah, they lost to Valmiera
1-0 with that ridiculous Billy Hill goal. We were there. It looked like maybe RFS will have it more difficult this year.
That was a quality counter-attacking goal which caught RFS on the brink.
If you call that quality, no wonder Valmiera are where they are. But
yeah, and Dyer, he had an incredible season, and he came out of the blocks running.
Was that him? Wasn't it Diop?
He assisted. He took the ball up to the halfway line, and then it was quite an attacking goal.
We will not be recalling every single game.
We will not be recalling every game. Yeah,
but RFS started better this year than last year.
Okay,
100%.
Yeah, well, last season they drew 8 games and they only lost 1. This season they drew 3 and lost 4.
Last season they weren't at the top of the table for a single day until winning the league. Until
the end, yeah. But 2023 they won the league on 89 points. 2024 they won the league on 90 points. So consistency, and they won by 3 points this season, whereas last season they won by just the 1. So yeah, I think Riga lost the league at Tukums, is my theory. When
that was early on. That was in the first lap for second lap.
That left them trailing basically. Because Riga lost less games than RFS, which is quite surprising. But then they drew 6, so there was struggles there as well. But if they would have got something away at Tukums really early on, that could have been a whole different. It would have been a different story later.
Unclear, because up until a couple of weeks until the end of the season, they were potentially trailing RFS by as many as 9 points.
They were, but they still had to play RFS at the end.
Yeah.
And they also conceded less goals. They had the best defence in the league. Only 2 less than RFS, but they conceded 23 goals compared to RFS's 25. And they scored 4 goals less than RFS. So it's a marginal difference, 2 goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that top battle, RFS were the clear winners. Probably 5-6 games. Until the end, towards the end. It was a clear indicator.
Auda threw a little bit of intrigue into the mix by winning 2-1.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done so, RFS would have celebrated their gold at Meta.
Yeah.
Three games before the end of the season.
Yeah, and I guess that's where that moves us on to Auda and Valmiera, and that was a bit of a battle for third place. And Auda, they started. I think you've got hats off to the Auda organisation and directors for replacing the manager quite quickly. Almeida just didn't work out, and they would have been way worse off. They brought a replacement in who did an incredible job, both in the Virsliga but also in Europe as well. And then Valmiera, they had lost a lot of defenders halfway through the season, big injuries, which we'll probably go on to, and particularly when we look at our players who we anticipated would have a good start to the season as well. So I think Auda and Valmiera are 2 interesting cases for the league. Valmiera, obviously having points docked, didn't deserve to quite finish in 4th, but they did have a poor end of season. And I think that's partly down to their leaky defence and their probably game planning that they were thinking about next season as much as anything.
Or it says something about the quality of Jurdis Kalns. And once he left, Valmiera's fortunes turned around for the worse. Kalniņš, who replaced him, former assistant coach, 2 counts, still not a lot of managerial experience. So it could also have been that on top of injuries. But on points, if we ignore the 9 deducted points for financial issues, Valmiera takes 3rd comfortably. And all the players have acknowledged that, making a symbolic, lovely but ultimately pointless gesture of posting their bronze medals to Valmiera.
Yeah, it's a good gesture, and it's nice to see sportsmanship in the league.
Some questions were raised on, well, would they have done that if there was anything at stake? Arguably, because that's when it matters. Yeah,
well, ultimately Auda have finished 3rd and Valmiera have finished 4th, so it's a goodwill gesture, and, we should encourage it. It's good to see.
I don't mind it, but those are valid concerns that, it's easy to make a goodwill gesture when it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Auda, I think the start of the season was absolutely appalling. They were not the team they were in the second half of the season. No. I think Valmiera got really unlucky with loss of players, dishevelment within the club, seniority, the directors and the owners and so on. There were issues there. And if you look at what's happened with Auda and Valmiera, there's been similarities at the start for Auda and at the end for Valmiera. I guess if we're looking at mid-table, you've got something very different there as well. But Meta, they in 2023 they lost their last 5 games. I think Meta had a really good transfer window, and they brought in a couple of players. And they managed to really climb into that mid-table position as well.
Well, number 7 is mid-table, but it is Meta's best ever finish on points, as well as positionally in a 10-team Virsliga ever. So congratulations, Meta. Very well done. 36 points, minus 42 goals scored to conceded difference. But if you have 2 top teams scoring a combined over 200 goals, the rest, that has to go somewhere. So there's not many other teams with a positive goal scored to concede a difference.
Yeah.
That aside, they won 10, they drew 6, they lost 20. It's a good record. Well done, Meta. No relegation playoffs for you for the first time in something like a decade.
Yeah, I think Meta seem like they're a club in progress, and they operated quite nicely this season. Their fan base was very committed, and even in the Daugavpils stadium, that was a nice experience. Yeah. So I think they grow. Tukums, on the other hand, they conceded nearly as many goals as they conceded the most goals this season. 81, which is appalling. They lost 10-0 to a team.
There's one team that conceded more
Yeah,
goals.
Jelgava conceded 82, and that's why they finished last, and that's nearly as bad as Supernova in 2023, who conceded 96 goals. But Tukums really, I think the main thing that stood out for me this season was the poor defending. I think the defending was a really big letdown. If you look at the average goals scored per game, 3.08 goals per match. That's 2023 was 2.91 goals per match. So I think there's some defensive issues, and I think that some of the mid and lower table teams, didn't tactically prepare for the big teams, and that was the biggest disappointment, that teams weren't prepared to think a little bit outside the box and challenge the top four teams more. But tactically,
on the other hand, if you like goals, Virsliga is for you. Yeah,
if you like goals, Virsliga is for you. I play in defence. Whenever I play, it is a hobby, 5-a-side, or in my earlier life, 11-a-side. So defending means a lot to me, and I think it's an important part of football, and I'm happy to see a tighter scoreline if the goals are more deserved. Conceding 10 goals in a game, that's not it's not professional enough in my eyes.
No, and Tukums do that with alarming regularity. So that's not great. And they finished 8th, just above the relegation playoff spot. But let's maybe look at the other side of the mid-table. That's exciting.
Yeah, so Liepaja, Daugavpils, and I think Daugavpils were the biggest surprise, and similar to Valmiera. So I think Daugavpils were similar to Valmiera, where they had a really, really good start to the season, and then the second half they had a really bad finish. Liepaja had a really bad start to the season,
and mid of the season,
and then right at the end, suddenly final 100 meters took over a load of people. So yeah, I think Liepaja just about they salvaged their win. Grobina, I think third highest attendance in the Virsliga this season. Really promising team as well. Really exciting first half. Lost a couple of players on loan, and they struggled right at the end, and that was disappointing to see with Grobina. But we'll see what happens.
I think something like 10 losses in a row was their record at the end of Virsliga, meaning that they've gone through an entire lap, an entire quarter of Virsliga without winning a single game, without getting any points for the whole stretch, which is it's not good to be in that place.
They changed too many players, and they changed their style, and something just went wrong towards the end, because the quality of they brought in some quality players, but they just didn't gel. They weren't as unified as the team that were fighting for promotion in 2023,
or even team that started the season. But they also didn't play bad. Whenever I'd get a chance to watch a Grobina game, it wasn't pathetic, it wasn't hopeless or anything like that. They would play nicely, and they just keep conceding goals and not scoring it.
Yeah, and I think that's similar to Jelgava. I mean, Jelgava took the lead against Valmiera towards the end of the season.
I think...
But my point is that Jelgava just... They dropped in confidence 60. They seemed to really drop in confidence 60 minutes, 45 minutes into the game, and switched off. And I think you saw that a little bit with Grobina. Just they couldn't see out games as much.
I disagree. I think Jelgava were horrible while they were under Redko. And this was way too long. All respect to him. He's a local legend. He is doing the best he can, but he was just not ready to take over a Virsliga side so soon. I mean, last season he still played for them in defense.
Yeah.
He was a player coach, but while he was caretaker, his record was poor. This season, horrible performance. This philosophy of no loaned players, we discussed this at the beginning of the season. We thought it's short-sighted and is going to bite them in the rear, and it did. And Jelgava were pathetic.
But I think that's
until the Ukrainian coach took over, Sivenko, and then he really put some life into them.
That made a big difference. I think that the owners have to be blamed for Jelgava's fate, and they should have made personnel changes a lot faster. And you saw the success of Auda making those changes, and they became a completely different team.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no point sitting on it if it's not working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot more goals this season, worse defending this season, and not enough tactically astute management in the big games is my overall analysis.
Not enough intrigue. Once the first lap was over, the dynamics set in, and it's okay. It's good. I'm happy RFS won. Being a supporter of this particular team, looking through an objective lens as a third person, maybe someone uncommitted to any side, it's not great when we have, in the last 7 years, we have Riga, RFS, Valmiera, RFS. Yeah, Valmiera helps the dynamic, but you can see a clear pattern.
Well, this is the thing, and this was the problem with the loan system this season. Daugavpils lost half their they lost a large proportion of players.
That wasn't just 2 loans.
Yeah, and they had a few injuries and so on, but it was Daugavpils had such an exciting start to the season. Leopaya were expected to do a lot better, but they were a complete flop. But it is. I guess it's a sad thing to see the top 4 teams kind of finishing in the same place. Mid-table was really exciting, and the U-turn of a lot of teams, some starting really well. And I guess that's down to there's a lack of consistency in the league. Yeah. But I think we'll probably have to move on to the next topic soon. But overall, a really, really exciting season. I think it's for the Virsliga and the teams in it. It's been work in progress, and there's been a lot of improvements. And RFS most consistent in terms of their team, the ability to put multiple players in different positions. They had such depth in their squad. Riga could have done that as well, and Riga came close in terms of how the amount of players they had. But they weren't too sure about their starting 11. Yeah.
RFS won the cup with the reserve squad, so that's saying something. Congratulations to Reginaldo Ramirez for taking top scorer this year. Alion Doi came a close second with 22 goals. Ramirez is 25 for 2 clubs, starting off with Auda and then finishing the season with Riga. Regja, last season's top scorer, came third with 18. And then Ikaunieks, who again spent half of the season injured, first half, so managed to clock 16 in half a season. And this is followed by Taiwa.
And Taiwa, I think that was a great signing by Auda. He was pivotal.
Wow. So he is the mirror image of Ramirez. He started with Riga, finished with Auda. Showed nothing with Riga, but then picked up form now with Auda, and hopefully will carry on in the next season in a similar way. But so maybe the dynamics of the top of the table weren't particularly surprising, but we did make some start of season predictions, and I think looking at them now, we were quite off. So we did get the first 2 correct. We both predicted that RFS will win and Riga will take silver, which is what happened. Although you were on the fence, you thought Riga should probably be gold. I remember that.
I'll have to look back at it on our YouTube video on that one, but I'm glad I got two correct, and that was that.
We both sort of got third right and wrong. On sporting merit, we would have been correct. Valmiera would have finished third, but we didn't factor in their shoddy accounting and financial discipline.
Yeah.
So we got it wrong. Valmiera didn't finish third, they finished fourth. Then I had out the number 4, which is closer than what you had.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have fired them at Almeida, then I would have got that, I think.
Yeah, well, you put Liepaja as number 4.
Yeah, which they if they would have started with the team they ended with, they could have finished fourth.
Well, I think it's less about team and more about coach in this particular situation.
Yeah, but I mean, fair play to Tomasz. He climbed his way out of the sewage works.
I cannot credit him with this at all. Sorry. No one predicted Daugavpils will finish 5th. I thought they will finish 10th, and you thought they will finish 9th, so we got that way wrong. Then Liepaja finished 6th. I think we're equally. You thought 4th, I thought 5th, so I guess I'm closer anyway.
Yeah, I mean, basically we got them all incorrect other than the top 2.
Yes. Yeah, but it looks like you maybe got them a bit less correct.
No, that if that's football, that would be a 2-2 score. So we do there.
What would be the XG on this one? I think.
Well, that's you can see it. Yeah. You can see the table.
Yeah.
We both got 2 correct, and we got unfortunate. We our top 3 would have been 3-3 in it. Yeah. So.
Well, you thought...
Oh, no, you would have got Auda correct. But
You got Grobinja way more right than I did. You thought number 10, they finished number 9, but I got Jelgava closer to where they were as well. And of course, I thought Meta will continue their record of finishing 9th. You put them 8th, which is closer to their final position. So, all in all, yeah, you can probably bet on top 2 pretty reliably in the Virsliga. The rest is anyone's guess at the start of the season.
A very, very competitive league, and in hindsight, Grobina, I really enjoyed them being in the league this season. I'd like to see them in the league next season because they had such fantastic supporters. The Liepaja derby was one of the most memorable games of the season as well.
Not all of them, but certainly the first one.
The first one was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for a word from our supporters, Manscaped, they have a new product. It's called the Chairman Pro package. It's a new shaver, a new foil shaver. It has a ton of different blades. Looks super cool, and it works fantastic. I mean, we're very happy with Manscaped, aren't we?
I love Manscaped. Great brand, really good, solid products, and Christmas is coming up as well. So I think it's a perfect time to start thinking about buying some Manscaped gifts for your friends, family, loved ones, and when you're looking at your gift shopping, how about getting a 20% discount?
Yeah, an electric foil shaver with a gel and a shave soother. I mean, and it's all together called the Chairman Pro. You get both the Chairman and you get a Pro. You can't go wrong with a foil shaver, whether you're male or female. Doesn't matter, everyone uses those. And yeah, you get 20% off plus free shipping with our code LFP20 at manscaped.com. So.
Yep, LFP20. And remember, the perfect Christmas gift.
Yeah, shows that you care. So now I have a challenge for you, Frank.
Right, okay.
Which is based on your stellar performance of trying to pronounce Virsliga player names throughout the season that we've been doing this. So I want you to pronounce the name of the player that you see on the screen.
Raimons Samietis.
All right, that was pretty good. Well done. What about this one?
Musa Raugo.
Okay. I admit I don't know what would be the right way. Odrago?
Odrago, yeah, maybe. That's probably more...
How about this one?
Emils Aisporietis.
Okay. Aisporietis.
Good.
Yeah. Good. And finally...
Harold Silagalis.
Okay, very good. Well done. So Harold Silagailis is someone we will hopefully see next year in Virsliga in the ranks of Supernova, newly promoted back to the top flight.